So we're live now?
Yes.
All right, so what?
All right, so this is...
What brings you at my house at 7:30 in the morning, waking me up when I'm retired?
That's not getting cut, bud. All right. Okay, so I've driven in the video, I've driven from Dallas to here, 3 minute music video to get here. Now I'm going to start talking about this truck. All right, so, we went and looked at this truck. Donnie and I went down there, and the thing is, when I'm down there looking at a truck, the guy I don't video it because the guy that's showing the truck, people are really leery. When you come up, this is a remote control, but you come up and, hey, can I record while I do this? People are like, wait a minute, what are you trying to record? You know, there's a lot of people that get leery of cameras and stuff, and they don't know anything about the YouTube thing and all that. So, you know, I don't like to force a camera in somebody's face unless they're okay with it. So anyway, I knew I was only going to talk to this guy for a half hour, 45 minutes probably. And if he turned out really nice, whatever, I'd go out and get the camera and I'd do it. But anyway, so we didn't film any of that. So when he got back, Donnie and I were talking. He said, well, what was wrong with that truck? And I'm like, oh, well, there's all this and all that. So I'm going to show you the different things about this truck that I didn't like, what I was willing to overlook, and the reasoning why I drove all the way out here to see this truck. So, all right, what it is, go ahead and blow this up. Donnie's over here running he's camera shy today, so he's over there running the controls for me. And he's going to be asking questions that you would probably be asking. Okay, so scroll it up, here we go. Now, what this is a 2010 T660 Kenworth. Yes, I know, 2010 T660. That's an emission truck, Stan. You don't like emissions. Okay, yeah, I don't like emissions, okay? So this thing, right before I left Dallas, there were 3 things wrong with this truck before I left the house. But there were so many other things that I was like, keep my fingers crossed. Okay, the first thing is it's an aerodynamic hood. It's a T660, that's the aerodynamic nose and everything. And I like the classics. I like the W900 Kenworth, and I like the 379P, the big classic square hood, you know, the big air cans out on the side. It just has that look that I'm so familiar with, and that's what I like. Some people like the aerodynamic look. I can kind of put up with it, but I don't prefer it, okay? So anyway, this is a T660, but I can overlook the aerodynamics. It's an automatic. Oh, Stan, you don't like automatics? No, I don't. This truck's got 1.5 million miles on it, and the transmission's never been touched. So more than likely, that transmission doesn't have a lot of life left in it anyway. Because this is a 3-pedal truck, what I mean by that, it's got an accelerator, a brake, and it has a clutch pedal. The early auto shifts had a clutch. You'd let the clutch out, you put it into drive, and you'd feel the transmission clunk into gear. You let the clutch out and get to rolling, and then from there on, it shifted for you. You never touched the clutch. It did all the shifting for you. And as you slowed back down and come to a stop, you push the clutch back in, okay? That was the early ones. Now they have ones that have an auto transmission and auto clutch. There's no clutch pedal. The reason I bring that up is this truck is a 3-pedal. It's easy to transfer over to a manual. You can take that transmission out and slap a 13 in it, and all the clutch linkages and all that are already there. So it's easier to do. And you can put a manual transmission in it, put a stick through there, and you're ready to go. So, okay, I don't like the automatic, but for the price of this truck, I can deal with it, you know. Put a manual transmission in when this one finally blows up. Okay. The other thing about it, it's a 2010. 8, 9, and 10 were the trucks that had from 04, they had the EGR valve. From 08, they had the DPF filter and the EGR valve. And then from 11 on, they have the DPF filter, DEF fluid, diesel exhaust fluid. So the 8, 9, and 10 was kind of the middle child there. The EGR, you can deal with that. This one has the burner on it, but it doesn't have the DEF fluid on it. Okay, I had my 09 had that. I didn't like it, but I thought, this truck has got a brand new engine overhaul. It has, these are all the positives, brand new engine overhaul, 68,000 miles on an engine overhaul back in November last year. It's got 140-inch A&A sleeper. And on the back, if you can see it back here, it's got a drone box. Go ahead and click one or two on here and it'll show that drone box in the back. What happened was this guy in the back here, click it again. In the back, they've got a box on the back. Oh, there you go. This box is just an empty cargo box. This guy hauled explosives, okay? He hauled dynamite, TNT, ammunition, stuff like that. Well, when you're hauling explosives, you have the dynamite and you have blasting caps. Well, you can't haul them together. So they put the dynamite in the trailer and then put a few boxes of blasting caps up in this trailer box. So that's why he has the drone box on the back. Well, that drone box is great for him and everything, but for me, what do I need it for? I've got a KLR motorcycle. I'll stick a motorcycle in there. That's, hey, okay, so it's got a brand new motor. It's got the drone box. It's got this huge sleeper. Click on the picture here again. Let's go to the interior. It's got a beautiful interior. Man, that's nice. Wow. So, when you get in there and look at it, all these cabinets were just a little soft on the joinery was starting to loosen up. The pictures don't do it justice, or the pictures do it justice. They kind of hide that it's not in as good a shape as it looks, okay? When you get in there, you realize it's not as nice as we were hoping. One of the things like this pedestal table, just wobbly as hell, you know, things like that. It's got a small water tank on it. There was a whole bunch of other, when I was looking at it on the internet, and when I called the guy, asked him all this stuff, everything sounded pretty good. But when I get out here and actually look at it, he was like, you know, or I was like, man, there's a lot of little things, you know, what is it, death by 1,000 cuts kind of thing. And I don't know, didn't care for. He told me it had a brand new generator on it. Well, you get there, and I looked at the generator, it's got 5,000 hours on it. That's half used, you know. It's only a 2-year-old generator, but it's got 5,000 hours on it already. My Lord, he's used that generator a lot. So the new generator is really not that big of an issue because, or a plus for me, because it just wasn't as new as what I thought it was. But it's got a brand new engine, okay, brand new overhauled engine. The brand new overhauled engine, but it's done at a local shop. So the only place it's warranted is this one local shop here in Flagstaff, or in Tucson. So I buy it, and I'm up in Ohio, and the motor shoots craps, and it's only a 1-year warranty, okay? And it's used 6 months of it already. So to me, it's only a 6-month warranty at that one shop, okay? Now the parts are warranted nationwide for 1 year. So yeah, the engine's a great thing if it holds together. You know, I don't know. Maybe he's selling it because the motor's starting to fart up or something. Who knows? Now, we found out the real reason his wife was ill, so that's why they're getting off the road. But anyway, we started looking at this truck, and I'm like, you know, I thought, okay, there's a 2010. It's got the emissions on it. That's the big thing for me. I didn't like that. I can put up with the automatic until it blows and put a manual in it. And I don't mind the aerodynamics of a T660. But that transmission, or that emissions was just biting at me all the way out here. I'm thinking, why am I driving all the way out here? Because I know I'm not going to like that. Maybe this truck is in really nice shape. And I get out there and it's going to be beautiful. Click back into the outdoor picture, one of the first pictures. Sure. Anyway, I get out here thinking, man, it's going to be a beautiful truck. And it will be so nice that, okay, I'll overlook the emissions headache, okay?
What do you want?
But we get out here, the very first one. It'll be fine. Okay, when we get out here, that picture looks really nice. But you get up there close to it in person, and all this pinstriping stuff is all cracked and chipped and whatever. Right here in the doorway, right in the doorway, there's a huge crack right in here that'll let water in. Right here at the end of the visor, there's a big crack right here. Now, actually, I can see that on this picture here because it's a huge screen. But on my laptop, I couldn't see that. I didn't notice that. There's, what else was there about it? But, you know, but it's not that big a deal. But what he wanted $55,000 for this truck. So at $55,000, which that's, oh man, if it's a nice enough truck, if it's as nice a truck as I think it is, and an overhaul, and he had new rear ends put in not too long ago, and a new generator, and everything was so wonderful. I get, hey, all I got to do is put a paint job on it, and I'm done. Okay, so $55,000 plus maybe a $10,000 paint job. I'm into this truck for $65,000 bucks, driving down the road, and whatever. I get out here, and all of these pluses that seem to be a good plus weren't such a good plus. So the truck wasn't as nice as I was hoping. The interior really let me down. I was really thinking, from the pictures, it looked beautiful. When I get out there, it just wasn't there. I don't know if that's maybe an AA sleeper. I've never been in an AA sleeper before, so I don't know their build quality and all that kind of stuff. But it looked pretty in the picture, but when we got in there, it just, yeah, it's okay. Donnie was like, hell, this is nice. I really like this, but it's not what it. Donnie, would you spend $55,000 for that truck?
Not knowing, I probably would.
Okay, well.
But I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know these,
Right, okay, well, that was an unfair question. But well, I guess what I'm saying is, if you didn't want it for a truck, if you just wanted it for an RV, it was a nice enough interior, right?
Yeah.
Was it worth $55,000 as an RV?
As an RV, no.
No.
Not at all.
Right, because, well, for one, you don't need the big motor and the whole chassis and everything,
Right.
but because you can buy a much nicer RV for a lot less money.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an off thing there because it's apples and oranges here. But anyway, Donnie's looking at it going, hey, this is pretty nice inside. And I'm in there looking, yeah, it's pretty shitty inside. So
it didn't compare to your last rig.
Exactly. And Donnie's been in my last truck, and
it was immaculate.
The difference between ARI sleeper and the AA sleeper, what I'm finding out, is the ARI sleeper, the whole framework is a big, almost like a shark cage. It's aluminum. It's aluminum, square tubing, and different kinds of extruded aluminum stuff. But they make this huge cage. Remember, I was up at the ARI factory years ago looking at them, and I did a tour of the place. And they're just extremely well built. Okay. For instance, I took my truck at 60 miles an hour into a concrete barrier, and that sleeper, not one thing happened to it. Nothing broke. Not one rivet popped out. Nothing got racked. You go from 60 to 0 in that short of time. You think maybe the framework would twist or something. It was in perfect. The sleeper was fine. The truck was trashed. People ask me, well, why didn't you keep that sleeper? Well, because by the time you keep the sleeper, of course, I'd have to buy the truck back. I'd keep the sleeper, then I got to get rid of the truck. Well, I rebuild the truck. You put too much money into it to get it back to where it needs to be. It's better to just go ahead and trash. That's why they total trucks, total cars. It costs more to get back to good than it would just write it off and go buy something different. So that's why I didn't rebuild my truck. Okay, I've had a lot of questions. Why didn't you just rebuild your truck? Well, because it just doesn't make sense to do that. Okay, you'll have much more in the. If I was a shop and could build it myself, which I can't, I can build little cargo trailers and Sprinter vans and things like that. But to rebuild a truck, I don't have the machinery. You got to have cutting torches, you got to have frame straighteners, you got to have all that, plus lifts and all this, and the know-how. I don't know how to do that kind of stuff. I'm not a body repairman. So anyway, I'm getting off subject there, but I didn't have the means to fix the truck myself. And by the time you take it to a shop and have it fixed, the labor costs are just make the thing it just doesn't make sense. So it makes sense for the guy that bought it. I don't know him for sure. I know who it was that bought it, the business, and I know they rebuilt it, and they were trying to sell it, and he wanted way more money than I was willing. He wanted more money for it than when I bought it, back 3 years earlier, and it still hadn't been overhauled, and I'm like, wait a minute, it just, no. So my old truck was a no all the way around. I didn't want to rebuild it, and the guy that did rebuild it wanted too much money for it, and I just said no.
You're saying the sleeper on
Yep.
yours is a separate cap,
Yes.
separate suspension, air suspension,
Right.
and separate.
Remember the cracks up here and everything?
Yeah, a lot of stress cracks.
My truck, the burgundy P, my truck, the cab was a separate unit. There was the hood and the cab, and there was a back wall to the cab and window. Okay, they take that window out, they cut the big opening into the back into the sleeper. Okay, but the cab and the sleeper were two separate units. Okay, Let me try to find something here. Can I use your mail? Here's his address.
Pay the bills
All right.
if there's any bills.
Okay, here's the sleeper, and here's the cab. My truck, they were independent, and they had a rubber gasket that went around in between there to keep the water out, okay? They were separate. The cab was air ride, and the sleeper was air ride, okay? This truck, they're molded together. They're all one piece. They're riveted and nailed, or not nailed, welded, nailed. They're all riveted and welded and everything all together. So from here all the way to the back of the sleeper is all one unit. All right, well, over time, there's so much stress in this subframe, this air ride subframe that's underneath this, because here's the frame of the truck, the wheels, and the frame is underneath here. And this, here's the frame, and this sits on top. It bounces up and down going down the highway. So with this truck, this sleeper and this cab have been mated together and welded together. It's all solid on the bottom, but this is just fiberglass up here. And you have a bridge. You ever stand on a bridge when traffic drives over? The bridge actually bounces, okay? What this does, this will sit there and bounce, which makes this frame, whoa, what happened here?
Oh, stand by.
Okay, but this fiberglass ends up getting flexed a lot, and it starts getting stress cracks right around the door here and right around the visor. And it was just, I don't know, there was something about it. There's issues there, and I didn't want to deal with it. Now, how bad are the issues? I don't know, but I know that crack right there, water would be pouring in down across the dash in a rainstorm. Okay, I don't know about this one so much, but I know that one was, because I've had that on a truck before, on an old company Freightliner I had years ago. Okay, and so anyway, the cab and the sleeper are all molded together on this one here, whereas the ARI sleeper is a separate unit. Now, I know the new ones, the newer versions of the ARIs, they mold them together. But anyway, so I guess where I'm getting on this truck, it had three strikes against it on the way out here. But I was willing to ignore 2 of those strikes. But the big strike was the emissions. And I was willing to overlook the emissions if it was man, I hope this is nice. And I get out here and it wasn't as nice. So I'm not going to go for a truck that's, it's okay. Oh, and I have to deal with the emissions too. So that's why I passed on this truck. Now, we're going to make another video for next week or later video, whatever. I'm going to go through and do some searching around on YouTube or on truck paper, and because this video is way long enough already. So we're going to cut it into another video. And I'm going to go through some of the other trucks that I've looked at. And Donnie's going to ask me questions. Well, what about this one? Do you like that one? And I'm going to point out what I do and don't like, and what I'm looking for and what I'm not looking for. And like I said, I'm 56 years old. I've been driving for 30 years, okay, 32 years. I don't really have to go back to work on a truck. I'm willing to go back into work just kind of because, but I don't have to, okay? And if I do go out, I want exactly what I want. So I'm being very picky. And I know there's a lot of people who go, Dan, that's awful. Well, there's nothing wrong with that paint job. Well, if you saw it in person, you'd say, yeah, all this cracking and stuff, it wasn't very nice. It was pretty crappy. Okay, well, I was going to repaint it anyway. Okay, well, that gets into the price again. $55,000, a $10,000 transmission here shortly, probably in a year or so. And how much do you want to spend on a paint job? You can get a $5,000 paint job, or you can get a $50,000 paint job. But probably around $10,000, $12,000 would do a really nice paint job on this. Add that up, 65 and 10, and we'll say 10. So 65 or 55, 65, $75,000. So this truck is $75,000.
Yeah, when you get up close, the headlight covers are all faded. They don't look like it here. In person, they were faded.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
All the marker lights were faded. The bumpers dented. The grills dented.
UV damage. The bumpers all beat all.
The lug nuts were mismatched. The covers missing, and the paint was real faded. When you got up close, it was a well-used truck. It looks good here, but if you see in person, it's far from being show quality.
Yeah, little things like the lug nut covers. Those are $20. You can get lug nut. Well, $50 gets you all the lug nut covers and hub caps and all that stuff. So that's a very, very minor thing. 65 and 10 and we'll say 10. So 65 or 55, 65, $75,000. So this truck is $75,000. You go into driveways that twist and everything. It's really hard to put fenders on a truck and not get them dented up because of trailers the way they are. But you almost need them because if you don't, the rocks throw up on the back of the sleeper and dent everything up. So right here, see all the chrome's painted. Now that's about $100 piece at Kenworth. That cap that goes on the back. It's just a plastic shell that goes on the back of the mirror. But see the chrome's painted peeling off of it. I mean, there was some nice things, but it wasn't that. Oh man, this is a rare find. Man, how lucky did I get on this? Hey, I'll overlook the emissions. So that's where I'm at. I'm like, it was close, but it was almost there, but no. So anyway, enough of that. The next video will be, we're going to go through some other trucks, and I'm going to show you some of the things I'm looking for, some of the things I've put my foot down. I ain't going to have it. And other things, I might be okay with it. So anyway, with that, see y'all later. Say goodbye, Donnie.
What?
You're supposed to say goodbye, Donnie.
Goodbye, Donnie. Bye, Donnie.
All right. So anyway, with that, y'all take care. Ciao. Bye.